Hello. Today we're talking about social characteristics of autism. These characteristics can be difficult for students interacting with people, maintaining friendships, and being successful with peer interactions. One characteristic is difficulty seeing the perspective of others. In this, they don't understand why people feel different or have different ideas, thoughts, and beliefs than they do. I have a student in my class who has this difficulty, and if he disagrees with somebody's thoughts or belief, he argues with them. He calls them names and says they're stupid, that they don't know anything at all. And it's difficult for him to have friends when he's behaving this way. Another interaction is avoiding eye contact. A student in my class avoids eye contact, especially when he's being redirected. So he will focus hard on what he's doing, avoiding eye contact and avoiding the direction. And we'll have to come close and really work on being able to have him focus on what we're saying and wanting him to do. Another interaction that's difficult is having trouble regulating their emotional responses. Students may be upset, be angry, have outbursts and disruptive behavior that could lead to aggressive behavior. A student in my classroom was so excited one time about our pumpkin carving that he got upset that his mom didn't buy him a pumpkin. So he had an outburst for a really long time, and he actually missed all the social part of our pumpkin carving because the groups had finished by the time he was ready and settled down. He was able to do it a little bit on his own, but he really missed all the social interactions because of this characteristic. Another one is reduced interest in people and shared activities. I have a student who would rather be doing his own thing all by himself rather than joining the fun activities that we might be doing at our centers. These would include games, art, music, things that are of high interest to him, but only when he's doing it alone. Another characteristic of social interactions that's difficult for people with autism is avoiding and resisting physical contact. A student of mine ducks and flinches when anybody comes around or close to him to touch him. He'll yell out, "Don't touch me," or "Stop hitting me," at times when people are just moving close to him or touching him on the shoulder to talk to him. So he misunderstands their physical their physical touches and overreacts to the stimuli. Another social interaction that's difficult for students with autism is personal space boundaries. They're either too close to a person or in their personal space, or they're way away from them and doesn't even get into their space boundaries. One student of mine has difficult trouble with personal space boundaries because he is always lining up super close to them, so close that his stomach touches their back when they're lining up. Or he's very close when talking to them, like almost nose to nose. And people ask him to step back. They yell at him. They kind of push him away, but he still doesn't understand that he needs to have personal space. We try teaching about, arm's length. Put your arms out. Are you touching? And still try to develop that skill, but he has a very hard time learning about that. One tough thing for social interactions with people with autism is understanding facial expressions, gestures, and nonverbal communication. I don't see a lot of this in my classroom. We use a lot of sign language and facial expressions, and students, for the most part, seem to respond to that quicker than they do verbal interactions. I know that when I'm not around, that other things are happening on the recess and in the cafeteria when other people are observing and supervising my students. At times, my student will get a meal in the cafeteria and he won't like it. So he'll have a temper tantrum or meltdown or actually throw the food because he's not happy with what's being served. He's not able to be calmed down, and this is very tough for people in the cafeteria to be able to support and serve him. Outside on the playground, my student still has trouble with being interested in other students and their activities. So he'll avoid that by being all by himself, playing in the dirt, and if people come around him, he'll try to make his space bigger and try to protect his space from anybody becoming involved. And that's very difficult for others to play with him and for him to have social interactions when this is happening. On the bus, my student who has space boundary issues is always sitting with somebody and sitting very close to them. So there could be this giant bus seat and the two of them are sharing one space because he's sitting so close to people. A bus monitor or the bus driver himself has to separate them a little bit, and oftentimes my student has to have his own seat and misses out on that social interaction with students on the bus as well. These are some of the social interactions that I've shared about people with autism that they may be experiencing. Thanks for looking at my video, and enjoy your day.